We get a different view now from Blaise Misztal, who's the Vice President for Policy at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, known as JINSA. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're listening. You watched, I'm sure, the president as well as my conversation with Paul. Your view on where things stand today is what?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Connell. I think I would actually largely agree with most of the points that both you and Paul made, except for one. This is, I think, something that I really have a bone to pick with.
Okay.
It's this narrative that Iran survives. If it survives, it has won, that survival is winning for Iran. And I think that ignores really two facts. One, just how much damage the United States has done to Iran in this war. I agree, we haven't accomplished all of our objectives, but most of Iran's ability to project power is significantly degraded. And not just that, not only have we destroyed hundreds, thousands of their missiles and drones, even though still many more exist, which is a problem, but we've decimated their defense industrial base, which means they're going to have problems rebuilding all of that. At the same time, we have to put this in the context of the last 2.5 years of war that started in October 7th. And remember that it's not just Iran, it's Hamas that's been degraded, Hezbollah that's been decimated, the Assad regime in Syria is gone, the Houthis stayed out of this conflict, which is, a huge question mark as to why that is, but really leads to questions about how much is Iran's imperial project still in place? Because we have to remember, this is not a regime that exists just for the sake of existence. This is a regime with a revolutionary agenda that believes it should rule over the Middle East, that it has a say in what happens across the entirety of the region, and that the United States needs to be kicked out and Israel pushed into the sea. And none of that has happened, and none of that is going to happen anytime soon. So it has lost its major project. It is still existing. It's still a threat, but it's not going to be anywhere near the power it was on October 7th of 2023.
Point or points taken. I think one thing I would bring up, and we talked about this on the show, I think it was yesterday, there was a report from Reuters this week that all of this military action from the U.S. and Israel has not done all that much to set Iran's nuclear program back. First of all, did you buy that to begin with? And what would you say about that part of it?
Yeah, so I think there's real questions about what that analysis is based on, and there's always sort of different ways that you can imagine Iran getting into a nuclear weapon. Based on what we heard CIA Director John Ratcliffe say after Operation Midnight Hammer last year, he said they've been set back by years. The intelligence estimates that I've heard from Israel and other U.S. officials is something like 2 to 3 years is what it would take them to reconstitute the program and get back to a weapon. So I think the reality is that they have significantly been set back, but much of that happened actually during Midnight Hammer. And Israeli Operation Rising Lion. What we've seen is that what remains of that program, the uranium that's enriched uranium buried underground, a couple of new facilities that are much harder to hit than even Fordow, which we needed those 50,000-pound bombs to hit. They're still there, and this conflict hasn't taken that part away. And I think that's the problem, and that's the issue. Okay, so then if this one-page memorandum comes to fruition, and then from there, there's a deal in place. These bullet points might happen. I don't think the wish list we had up for Iran, I think, as I said to Paul, find it hard to believe that they're going to get everything that they want. Like, no one's paying them reparations, right? I wouldn't think. So what would then an acceptable deal, given what's happened and where we are from the U.S. point of view, look like to you right now? What are we going to get? Yeah, so first of all, I think an important thing to note about this MOU, as I understand it, is it's more of an agreement to keep talking and hammer out more details rather than actually a concrete deal. And that in and of itself is a problem. This is, page 1 in the Iranian playbook is trap the United States in diplomacy, because when you're at the negotiating table, it's pretty hard to walk away. You keep talking, you keep delaying, you keep saying you want a deal, but you never actually get to the deal. Especially on nuclear, right? It doesn't seem like to be anything significant on nuclear in the memorandum. That's right. And in fact, sort of the major sticking points are up for discussion, which is how long will Iran give up its enrichment for and what happens to the enriched material. But the numbers that we've heard would suggest that this deal is going to be weaker than the Obama deal, the Obama JCPOA, which President Trump rightfully withdrew from. That deal basically had a 13-year moratorium on Iran's enrichment. This deal says somewhere between 5 to 12. I find it hard to believe that President Trump would go for that he'd go for a worse deal than what he pulled out of. But maybe, maybe he thinks it's worth talking to him, seeing if he can get more. But that's what I'm worried about, that we're going to get trapped in these ongoing negotiations and never get to a deal while Iran regains strength.
Blaise, thank you for your perspective. We've heard from the president, from Paul, from Blaise. We continue with our coverage. It's now 17 minutes past the hour. A lot more still to come here.